got a lot on your mind. We'll put a lot on your table. Introducing the new Zaxby's Family Packs at Zaxby's. Get your choice of 20 chicken fingers or 30 boneless wings. Plus crinkle fries, Texas toast, and 4 dipping sauces. It's enough to feed a family of 4, and it's only $24.99. So stop by your neighborhood Zaxby's drive-thru or order ahead on the Zaxby's app. When your whole crew is hungry, we've got the answer. The new Zaxby's Family Packs for just $24.99. Only at Zaxby's.
From Tally to Cali,
it's time
to wake up.
Wake up, wake up.
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
What's up, everybody? It's Wake Up Warchant, proudly presented by Zaxby's. Indescribably good. Get the 2-pack for $2. Get the family 4-pack. No matter who you're hanging out with this 4th of July weekend, Zaxby's has got you covered. Just make sure you get extra Zax sauce, so everybody's got some. And also, why don't you go ahead and subscribe to Warchant.com. Use the promo code Warchant30. Test it out. Explore the space. And I'm sure you'll like it. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, if you could hit the like button, again, I'm going to keep saying this like at the beginning of every episode, Corey. It's weird. I don't know how you were judged when you were in print. I know circulation numbers are a big thing. But, folks, when it comes to YouTube, they keep score, and it's subscribers and it's likes. So if you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, it's free. You can set your notifications for however often or infrequently you want to get notified about us dropping videos, whether it's Michael Langston talking about recruiting or Ira Schofeld previewing the upcoming season. He's got one with West Virginia up right now on our website and YouTube. But just hit the likes. Please hit the likes, right, Corey? It makes me feel good as well, too.
Yeah, do it. Again, you get this for free. The least you can do, literally the least you can do, is just hit a button that says you like us. The second least thing you can do is leave a positive comment, I guess. Or rate and review us on iTunes.
Yeah, do that, sure.
And go to Zaxby's. That's certainly not the least you can do. That's something you really need to do. Imagine rolling in, by the way, to a July 4th party. And, hey, folks, get together with as many folks as you can. Just have at it. But if you go to a July 4th party with a little Zaxby's, a catered Zaxby's, like roll in with, 30 fingers? 40 fingers,
yeah.
A couple of family packs.
Life of the party.
You'd be the hit of the party, man. You wouldn't even have to stay. They'd still remember that you were there.
That's right. Hey, Corey, I had this bad sinking feeling that happened on Thursday as my Twitter feed from my brethren in Texas started becoming quite active. What happened to my guy, man? Is he just broken? Does Jimbo Fisher just no longer care about rules, dignity, honor? 6-month show cause? This guy's recruiting kids before they become juniors, talking to them on campus, I guess, and not having proper jurisdiction over keeping the hours within the parameters of the NCAA, making his student athletes go 7 hours over the allotted time limit. Maybe
hey, that's not the
right.
Jimbo we knew, right. Is it?
What's that?
That's not the Jimbo that we knew.
No, it's not. It's not the one that I grew to love.
He was a stickler for the rules, everything above board. Look, it's a 6-month show cause, but it's just it's for like recruiting, right?
Yeah, and it's
obviously he can still coach, and I think it's like just certain elements of recruiting that he can't do. He knew what he was. He can't plead ignorance. My man's been doing it for 20 years. He knows the rules. As dumb as they might seem to be, it's not like he got caught handing a bag of cash to someone. He just had contact with someone when he wasn't allowed to. To me, it's a pretty minor infraction. But our man Stan Wilcox is on the NCAA infractions committee now.
Yeah, come on.
So
dude.
Get you some of that, Jimbo. Who won?
Fix the wrongs for us, Stan Wilcox.
Yeah.
Fix the wrongs. All right, folks, I hope you all have a great 4th of July weekend. We're going to send you off with a Renegade Express edition of the program, which is what we do. I don't know what next weekend holds for us. I don't know if we're going to record on Sunday. Gene, if you're listening to this, can we maybe have it off? If not, I get it. We got to give the people what they want. Corey, I asked everybody who got involved in Renegade Express to first identify their favorite firework, and then I asked some questions, whether they thought it was going to be Corbin or Kalen, Who's going to get the most bump from playing next to Marvin, Cooper, or Corey Durden? And who would their 3 starting wide receivers be? Just threw some stuff out there just in case they want the comments. So if I read weird things, now you know why our esteemed subscribers are saying that kind of stuff. What are you going to do for the 4th, big guy? Did I already ask you
I'm going back up to Atlanta on the 4th to see Brady. I have a friend that's having a pool party with his family that he's invited me over to, but I don't like pool parties. It's going to be 1,000,000 degrees. We can. They're cool about social distancing. They do social distance, but still, it's just a pool party, and I hate pools. I just do. I don't like. You've seen me, Aslan. Do I look like somebody that enjoys being in the sun?
Do you have a pool at any of your valued properties?
Well, I have the one up there is in a community that has a pool.
Oh, okay, I got you.
A couple pools. We actually got on the news because the HOA. People listening to this can understand you might have some complaints about your own HOA, but the HOA wasn't allowing the people to swim. They had all these kind of rules in place, and there was a lot of back and forth, and the people in the subdivision or in the neighborhood were like, let us do it. We'll take the responsibility. You don't get to tell us we can't use the pool. And so it went on. It actually made the news because there was such a back and forth between the homeowners and the association. So good times. But yes, I do have a pool, but I haven't used it. Golly, I don't get it, man. I know I'm different. Like you probably, were you in college? Were you just a guy that just hung out by the pool all day?
No, man. I was hungover. I just slept in and ate a bunch of food, bunch of greasy food. Yeah. I love the beach, though. When I moved back home, one of my good friends, him and his dad were killing it in their company, and they had this. It wasn't a yacht, man, but it was a big boat. I don't know how long the boat was, but it had a cabin. It had like a tanning sun deck. It was a big boat, and we used to take it out to the sandbars off Tarpon Springs, sort of, and live it up. I like the beach. I like being on a sandbar. I don't like being in the water. I'm not a good swimmer. That is not man's domain. Being on the sea, it freaks me out. So
yeah, well, I was a lifeguard for 2 summers on a beach.
Nice.
No, I'm just kidding, man. Come on, you know me. I wasn't a lifeguard. Imagine me trying to go out swim and save somebody's life.
Yeah. Oh, now I got Hasselhoff. All right, let's get to the questions, everybody. Mad AMCZ. Wake up! Happy 4th, boys. 2020 has not been great, but we still live in America, and we're going to be just fine. Aslan, I'm with you on Rocky IV. Mandatory viewing for all Americans, especially this weekend. FSU question. Do you think FSU benefits from the 2020 season moving to the spring, if that were to happen? Marvin and Terry probably don't stay, and they'll go to the draft. Players who get injured in a spring season have very little recovery time. But on the other hand, Norvell has more time in the fall to get the team into shape and get key players more reps, i.e. Chubba and your freshman quarterbacks. Plenty of time for scrimmages, more time for Storms and the strength and conditioning to do what they've missed. I would selfishly be bummed if they move the season 5 or 6 months, but I think it arguably benefits FSU during this time of transition between coaching staffs. I could see us coming out in January, February, ready to play some serious ball. Your thoughts, Corey?
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't be able to put a finger on whether that would be good or bad. It would be so different. And I really don't know. I don't know. Not having Marvin Wilson and Tamari and Terry, maybe not Nasruldeen. But anybody that's. Think about Clemson though. Like how many of those would Trevor Lawrence play? Would he risk having his leg ripped off if he's going to be a millionaire in 3 months? I don't know. I think that would be. The NFL would have to really, really work with college football, explain that they would move their draft maybe to, late July.
Which apparently they're not. I think Pro Football Talk tweeted something about the NFL has not showed any interest in moving their draft around. Yeah.
And Cameron's right. Jeff Cameron's right. Like, especially for the Power 5 schools, the NFL should be paying for those tests. Like, these college football kids – this is their they get to scout. This is how they scout. This is for NFL teams to figure out who they like. And you're not gonna supplement you got those billions and billions of dollars. And these teams and these programs have been feeder teams to your league. It made you those billions of dollars for decades. And you're not going to help them out at all. Like literally, there would not be an NFL without college football, without major college football. How many people has Florida State put in the league? Hundreds.
Yeah.
Alabama, Clemson, Florida, they put in hundreds of leagues. The league is littered with all these programs, products. And the NFL can't pay for tests. So even though, it really bothers me. Like, help out a little bit, man. How much money do y'all need to make? You can reach back and say thank you for everything you've done, for making this what we are over the last 30 years. We're going to help you out. We'll move the draft back so you can have a season if you have to do it in the spring. We'll move the draft back. We'll work with you guys. And then also we're going to pay for all your tests to make sure that our future players are healthy. But no, why would they do that? Why would you look out for the college football programs that have been flooding your league for years? Because you won't you don't have a minor league system. You never had to. College football took care of that for you.
It was Dan Wolken from USA Today. College football officials, according to his tweet, have quietly inquired whether the NFL would be willing to push back the 2021 draft in event of a spring season. Unsurprisingly, the NFL is not interested.
By the way, the whole spring season talk, why are we all of a sudden back on that? I know cases are going through the roof, but what's going to be different in January? And I don't know that a vaccine, people get the flu vaccine and it's like 40% effective. Like, that's better than 0% effective, I understand. But getting a vaccine by the beginning of the year isn't all of a sudden just going to be, all right, everybody, it's not going to be like a scene where everybody's rushing into malls and breaking down doors to rush into malls.
It's not Black Friday, huh?
Yeah, it's not going to be that. It's still going to be out there. The vaccine's not going to eradicate the virus. So I don't know exactly what moving it to the spring would even do.
I don't know. Maybe they want to re-flatten the curve, and then when we come back out of it, we actually, all wear masks or actually do keep distance, and we don't go to bars. And
I think look, Texas just made masks mandatory, man. That's just coming. People listen to this. I know there's people that don't want to wear masks. I don't like wearing masks.
Nobody wants to wear them, but come on, it's just a good idea right now. It's all we got.
But I'm saying it's coming. It's coming. It's already in Tallahassee. And it's coming for the whole state. It's coming for my other state in Georgia. It's coming. Masks are going to be mandatory. They just have to be for the time being. And let's see where we are in 3 weeks, man. Let's see where we are in a month. I know we're already in July and we're getting up against it. But, Florida had another record on Thursday. But I think this maybe the silver lining here, Aslan, is it was this slap in the face to wake people up to say, look, just do it for a month. If you're going to go out, please. And young people, I'm talking to you. If you're going to go out, be smart about it. Wear a mask. Just wear a mask if you got to go to a bar. If you're going to hang out, if you're going to go to a buddy's house that you don't really know that well, if you're going to a house party, wear a mask.
Is 19-year-old Corey Clark going to go to Potbelly's with a mask on? Come on, man.
Well, I don't know if those places are even open, right? They can't serve alcohol, so no, I probably wouldn't. But no, I'm saying I wouldn't go to Potbelly's at all.
Woo, there goes a sponsorship opportunity.
If it's not serving alcohol, what am I doing there?
Yeah, no, you're right.
Well, am I going to be like my gregarious self without a few beers in me? I'm going to have the nerve to go talk to a lady without a few pops in me? Come on, man. I'm just going to sit there and talk to
I bet you were on after a couple Bud Lights back in, 97.
I've been told more than once that I'm a very charming person.
Yeah.
When I've had a few. Now, I don't really often. Really, I don't. Maybe once a year where I'll get sloppy. But when I'm buzzed, I'm a pretty charming guy. And after the fact, I had all these, not after the fact necessarily, but in college, there were girls I hung out with that I never had the real nerve to like make a move on, quote unquote.
Right.
But after the fact, they would tell my buddies like, yeah, I really liked him. He was really charming and sweet. So, but I never acted on it.
Well, maybe if Zaxby's gets a liquor license and starts selling beer, we can do a live remote and really take this show to the next level.
That's a good idea. And I could loosen up and show how charming I can be.
Yeah. That's a good sort of point you made there about, obviously, if it goes to a spring season, to Matt AMCZ's point, I think, Marvin, Tamorian, Asante. I think maybe Asante does stay around. You're definitely losing Marvin and Tamorian. But
we say definitely. We probably.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
mean,
Marvin Wilson is like a first-team All-American preseason on all these lists. That's got to get you into the bottom half of the first round, I feel like.
but this time last year, I was 100% convinced that guy was not going to be playing in 2020 at all.
Well, then he played and got hurt and crazy stuff happened. Like this is, I mean, he's hung on for that year. I mean, the chance of him hanging on for another year is just got to be astronomically small.
Well, if it's in the spring, though, if he gets that extra season in, but then can still be drafted, but then think about that. So you're going to ask these college football players to play what? Let's just say they don't have non-conference games, except for the rivalry games. So you're asking Marvin Wilson and Tamari Terry, Asante Samuel, Nashville Dean to play 9 college football games, take a couple of months off, and then play a 16-game NFL season? And if they make all in one calendar year, you're going to be playing, plus the preseason games, which they would have to play because they're rookies, and maybe a playoff game. You're talking about, in a bowl, you're talking about 30 football games they would play in a calendar year. How's that going to work? Is the NFL going to move their season back? Of course they won't. Why would I have asked that? They're not going to do anything for college football. So, man, that's a lot. I don't understand it's almost like if you're draft eligible, if you're definitely going to be drafted, that you can't play because you don't want to play you don't want to play. That's not, your body's not made to play 30 football games at that level in a season.
Well, 25 is, what you're.
That's a lot, man.
It is, but it's
football.
I mean, it's not 30 though. I mean, that's every week. I think once you hit week 20, I think every week you can shave off of that. Makes a huge bit of difference. I mean, we're seeing that they're not even going to really have a preseason. They're going to take week 1 and week 4 off the schedule, so they're going to start preseason a little bit later and end it earlier than usual, which is probably something they should have done a long time ago. But yeah, it would be awesome, man. Again, and I think I asked this in the group chat with you and Ira, if they were to do like a spring, and Ira was like 6 weeks still. Like if they did do a spring season where I guess, I don't know, you start in February or whatever, or March, I don't know. Like, so what are we going to do from here until then? Like, will they let them practice? Will it be limited? Will it be, all right, you guys can have, August and September to practice, but then you got to shut it down until January? Because
here's
then,
my question, Aslan.
You start losing that sort of benefit of you think that this is a really good staff, which there's a lot of reason to believe that. It's not like they're going to have 4.5 months just to drill the heck out of these kids and polish everything up so they're perfect and pristine. It just won't work like that. So overall, man, I think for Florida State, if this season doesn't get played and gets pushed to the spring, it won't be nearly as the ceiling won't be as high as it sits right now. What were you going to say? Sorry, Corey.
I don't if you don't play college football, if you say we're canceling colleges across the country, we're all online. Why is my 12-year-old still going to school? Because he's offered to do that. And many people in Gwinnett County, Georgia, will be sending their kids to school indoors. But that's safer than these kids playing college football outdoors or high school football outdoors. They talk about canceling high school football because they can't, whatever the reason why, not canceling or postponing it. There's been states that have been talking about that. Well, those states aren't talking about not having a school season. I just don't understand. There's no proof that playing football is more dangerous than sitting in an algebra class. In fact, all the proof is the other way. The people that are getting sick, by and large, are people that are indoors, that are for an extended period of time. That's why prisons, that's why meatpacking plants, that's why nursing homes, hospitals, obviously. These are where it happens. So why?
Because they can distance at least inside. I mean, they can socially distance kids.
I mean,
they can't socially distance
to
85 football players.
But you can socially, I mean, you're still outside. Until there's proof that this thing gets spread football-wise, I don't understand how you're going to have college classes open, colleges open, high schools open. What is that, 30, 40 million? How many students we have in this country? 60 million?
I don't know.
They're going to be going to school. But these college athletes are going to go back home? Where they're safer? We think these players are safer back home than they are if they're in a controlled environment getting tested every couple days. That just boggles the mind that that's a thought. I get that you don't want them to be infecting an entire football team. But we've just seen in the last 2 weeks with all these rises, and most of them are young college-aged kids, that they're gonna get it whether they're on a campus or not. So at least the college football kids, and I'm saying this knowing that I know what I do for a living, and my living, quite frankly, depends on there being college football. So does yours. Yeah. So does Ira's mainly. I mean, we all get that. I also love college football, so I'm not exactly an unbiased observer. But I really don't understand the rationale that that we're going to cancel college football and send these players home, and that's safer for them. Without the nutrition, without getting fed every day, without housing, like that to me is bizarre. That's just bizarre thinking.
Well, isn't it a liability thing too? I mean, isn't it a liability thing? You send them back home to their parents. It's like, all right, you're on your own kind of thing. You know, I mean, if you're on campus, if you're playing ball, if you're playing sports, then that falls under. You know, you can't blame mom and dad for that if they get it. You know, and they take it home. I don't know, man.
But look at just look at the numbers. I mean, people are getting it. I mean, just get it. They're getting it. At least they're here, and they're getting tested every other day. That seems like that's beneficial for them.
Corey's favorite rap song is "Getting It" by Too Short. In case you all didn't know. C_Swizzle8. Wake up! My favorite firework would have to be bottle rockets. I have got a scar to prove it. Anyhow, my question:
nice.
Hypothetically, only the SEC and ACC teams say they're going to play in the fall. What would you guys want our schedule to be? Keeping all the ACC games we have now plus Florida, then replacing the non-conference games with SEC teams. Or if we had to stick to an all ACC schedule, who would you guys want to play in the first 3 games? I know there's a small chance of this happening. Just want to see y'all's opinions. Thanks for the great content. Love the live shows. The draft was great. Aslan and Ira did win. He didn't say that, but he did say the draft was great.
Okay, good.
At least he didn't say that you won. Keep doing what you're doing and go Knowles. All right. Go ahead, Corey. If you had to pick, I guess, picking teams from the ACC only or being able to pick some from the SEC, what would your first 3 weeks of the 2020 season look like?
Georgia Tech is in there for sure. North Carolina is in there. And then, if you keep Florida, then you think they could do that? Like the ACC, you could have like 2 non-conference games that are ACC teams? Or would you just have could you have a 10-game ACC schedule?
That's a good question. Well, I mean, he's just trying to say, just look at the first 3 weeks. Don't overthink it. I mean, the first 3 weeks right now you have is what? You've got West Virginia, Samford, and Boise. So you have to eliminate those because they're not playing football. I like, Georgia. If we're going to go ACC only, you can pick from that pot. I'm taking Georgia Tech. I'm taking North Carolina. And maybe David Cutcliffe and Duke just for old time's sake.
Okay, that works for me. That's fine.
I mean, I can't
Virginia Tech. I like Virginia Tech. That's always a fun game.
Too soon.
Real fan base.
Too soon.
It's still too soon. You're right.
And then SEC. I don't know if I'd want to mix and match.
Yeah, I don't like that idea. I think the conferences should just stick to themselves. Like again, that's the beauty about these enormous conferences is there's plenty of teams. It's not like you have to go. It's not an 8-team league. There's 15 of them. I'd like them to replace Syracuse with Georgia Tech, but if they're not going to do that, then just go find 2 from the Coastal, 2 or 3 from the Coastal. That'd be perfect. I
would take like Arkansas, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. I want to say Vandy, but like let's get a little bit of juice. But like I don't want Bama, I don't want Georgia, I don't want LSU. Who else? I mean Auburn. I could fox around with some Auburn, but no need to punch above our weight class right now.
Right.
But I would like North. I think for some reason, and Georgia Tech, I would mix and match. Like, give me 2 SEC teams and give me North Carolina. I want to play North Carolina. Mac Brown needs to be humbled. Out here getting 5 stars. Chill out, man.
Yeah, he just got like the number 7 player in the country, didn't he?
Amazing, man. Well, Dre Bly's on his staff. I mean, Dre and the kid's a cornerback, and I'm sure Dre Bly's probably some sort of defensive backs coach or something. So Dre Bly's a charismatic. Yeah,
but why? I mean, Dre Bly played in the late '90s. That wouldn't be like a.
I'm just saying, but he's got good. He's got good charisma, man. He's got personality.
All right, all right, gotcha.
All right, get down black. What's up, guys? Wake up! I am Team Jashawn. I think his style of running with not too much dancing, get up the field and go, fits a pro-style offense better than Kalen's. I also think Corey Durden will profit more playing alongside Marvin, especially with his athleticism. I'm predicting him to have a better stat line than Marvin because the double teams Marvin will face. My 3-wide set would be Warren Thompson, DJ in the slot, Tamorrion Terry. Another bold prediction. My breakout player, Warren Thompson, 60 receptions, 1,000 plus yards this season, and he starts over Ontario. What you guys think? That's bold. That's bold AF.
That's real. I like that. Is bold AF. I like the first two for sure. I think there is a chance that Durden has better numbers because Marvin's going to be eating a lot of double teams, and Durden's a good player, so he should have a really productive year. As far as how many catches does Warren Thompson have in his career? Like 5, 8?
Gosh.
So for him to go for that to 60, I don't think they're going to throw, because we know Tamorrion, if he's healthy and playing, he's going to put up big numbers. They're going to throw to him a lot. I don't know that they're also going to throw to another guy. I think Terry has somewhere around 60 or 70 catches, and then everybody else has somewhere between 20 and 38 would be my thought. But that said, I'm on record as saying that I think Warren Thompson could have a breakout year. But I just think his breakout year will be like 32 for 580 or something with 6 touchdowns. I mean, that's a really good year, especially from someone that's done jack squat since he got here.
I would have taken the under on 5 receptions for his career. He was in 6 games last year. He made 6 catches for 91 yards. He had 2 catches for 50 yards against Boise, a 7-yard pass against Louisiana Monroe, 8-yard reception against Louisville, and then 26 yards on 2 catches versus North Carolina State. So 6 catches, 91
suck on that,
yards.
Wolfpack.
Yeah.
So that's a huge jump to go from that to that. But hey, it could happen. He's talented, man. I'm telling you. You see that dude move up close. It's pretty ridiculous.
Still think Ontario, Ontario's he's your sleeper, everybody. Show him respect. Put respect on his name, Get Down Black. Come on, man. All right, Marnol55. Wake up! Why didn't Norvell get a national championship plaque with a date of 20 at his introductory press conference like Jimbo? Does this show FSU's lack of confidence in their hire? How mortified was Jimbo when they presented that to him? Did he look more uncomfortable receiving that or having to post next to Reveille?
It was definitely the dog. Jimbo did not look in his element at all with the dog. That was just, man, that's a crazy place out there, man.
He wants a hunting dog. That was a show dog.
That was definitely a show dog. Jimbo ain't about show dogs. Yeah. He's all about hunting dogs. But yeah, that would have been funny if Thrasher had given a plaque to Norvell with the national championships, but to be determined. That was man. I don't feel bad for Jimbo for much. He's accomplished a lot. He's richer than any of us could ever dream. I assume he has a bunch of cattle, living the life, even with the show cause. He's had a good life. But in that moment, number one, when he's posing with the dog, like, hey, man, you got to do what these people tell you to do. They're oil barons. If they tell you they want you to ride into the stadium on a horse, you're doing it. And then also the national champion, because Jimbo knows how hard that is, man, especially at a place that's never done it. Like he had the advantage at Florida State. He knew that they could win there because they had before. At a place like A&M that hadn't won since The Wizard of Oz was in theaters, like that's ingrained in culture that you're not going to win. It's just part of that program. It's part of that school. They're not going to win anything that matters. And so he knows how hard it is to go from, we're going with 7 wins to a national championship in the SEC West. So that put a lot of undue expectations, in my opinion, a little bit more pressure than he was already feeling. So in that moment, I felt bad for Jimbo. I really did.
The plaque should have had 202, then a dash. Because it really puts
it kind of opens it up. Like, where we talking about 2036? Yeah. Are they going to be cool with that?
So, Jimbo. All right, Darth Knoll 35 thinks that Corbin and Leyburn are going to split carries and get 800 yards each. His wide receivers are mine. Not mine because I don't have Thompson. He says Terry, Thompson, and Matthews, but thinks Helton will be starting by the end of the year because he has really good work ethic. His breakout candidate is Jordan Wilson, a tight end transfer from UCLA. He thinks that kid's going to get 50-plus catches and over 500 yards because Norvell loves tight ends. I don't even know.
Norvell does like tight ends. I don't think that kid's getting 50 catches.
Yeah, I don't think he's gotten 50 catches since like his junior year
of
high school.
The main reason I think Cam McDonald's going to be the main guy there, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Why wouldn't he be?
But I do think that kid is going to be an important part because he does do. You've watched them before. He does some 2 tight end sets, right?
He does.
A good bit of
it. That's correct. Yeah.
So yeah, that kid could be an impact player. But 50 catches, that might be did O'Leary ever have 50 catches in a season? I mean, that would be a ton for a tight end.
I feel like I need to look that up. Old Nicky. You know that his granddad is Jack Nicklaus?
Whose?
Nick O'Leary.
What?
Yeah.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
No, Jack Nicklaus, the golfer?
Yeah.
He's grandson of Jack Nicklaus, the golfer.
That's what I heard. I read somewhere.
You might want to Wikipedia that, man. There's no way. I mean, O'Leary was here for, 4 years?
Woo,
you would have thought that would have been brought up once while he was here. So that's odd, man.
50. Over under 50 were the most receptions Nick O'Leary had in the season at Florida State, Corey. Over under 50.
I'm going to say under.
You're right.
I'm going to say his high was 43.
48.
Ooh, all right.
2014.
For how many yards?
618, 6 touchdowns.
That's a pretty productive year out of your tight end. And this kid ain't O'Leary.
Who did he have a 94-yard touchdown against in 2013?
It wasn't a touchdown. It was in the Clemson game.
Okay,
he got
that was
tackled at like the 2.
Okay, all right.
That was the most, everybody remembers him bowling over Travis Blanks. But I thought the most impressive thing he did that day was that play because it was Florida State had whatever it was, a 35-point lead. They had the ball at the 1. Clemson was run blitzing. So every time they gave him the ball, Devontae the ball or Williams, whoever it was, he was running into guys right at the point of contact. There was nowhere to run. So Jimbo, because he's smart, was like, okay, well, I'm going to do a play action pass right here. Because if they're just going to blindly run up because we have a big lead. So he hits O'Leary out in the flat. Or down the seam, wherever it was, and O'Leary separates from pushes off one guy and then shows legitimate speed. And this was in the 4th quarter of a game he'd been playing for 3 hours and was really running fast, and the safety barely tripped him up at the 4, on his heel. Or that would have been I think that would have been the longest pass play in Florida State history. I think it would have been a 99-yard touchdown. It would have been longer than Snoop.
What game did he fall on the ball and get a touchdown in 14?
Louisville.
That was Louisville. Oh, that's right.
That's when they were down 21-0, and Carlos fumbled into the end zone. And he recovered it right before half. It's a big play.
Yeah, that's his rushing stat line for a career at Florida State. 0 attempts, 0 yards, 1 touchdown.
Yeah, I always wondered why Jimbo didn't give him the ball more at tailback. Just run some toss sweeps with O'Leary. Remember when I think it was as a sophomore, when he tried to hurdle everyone?
Yeah.
And he ended up fumbling half the time because he would that was just his thing. He was such a good athlete, man. He really was. But he kind of hadn't really registered with him yet that, oh, yeah, these guys are really good too. And so he tried to do all this Superman stuff. And I don't know it was because he could bounce off buses and walk away, but he'd get flipped and fumble. I do remember that in Miami. I think he did it one other time too.
And then Darth Knoll wants to know something about rivalries between us and other Florida State media websites. Coke and Pepsi don't hang out, but they all like each other, I'm sure, deep down inside. So that's all that matters. All right, Bimini Bound. Wake up, fellas. It's been too long. My favorite fireworks are bottle rockets. There was always a neighborhood kid who had a massive stash of them. They used to provide hours of entertainment in those sandlot-like summer days. I'm a Roman candle guy. I'm surprised no one said Roman candles yet. I wonder if anybody will say Roman candles. What do you guys think about Major League Baseball cutting games in their season from 162 to 60? Perhaps this trend will carry over into college sports. Personally, there were too many games for me to get interested in the regular season, but now I don't have an excuse. Have a fun and safe 4th, gentlemen.
It's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be fun if it ever gets off the ground. I think it'll be really neat because every game matters. Like, if you just think about the math, every game is like a 3-game series.
Yeah.
So you need to win as many as possible. Like, obviously, like one game is the equivalent of a 3-game series if you're only playing 60 games. So that, to me, it's going to be like a frenetic finish for the entire 2 months. So that'll be cool. And I can't wait till my Braves get in the postseason and just crush it like they always do when they get in October.
That's right. That is right.
I mean, I don't see any reason they can't lose in the most heartbreaking fashion imaginable in a few months. I see that happening. I put money on it, actually. But I don't think you can do that in college. I think football, I think there's a very realistic chance that they just get away with they just cut the non-conference games. But I don't think you go from like 12 games to 4. That would seem almost pointless.
Well, I wonder what he means by, will this trend carry over? Like, will they always have this sort of condensed, truncated season in Major League Baseball? Will collegiate baseball shorten themselves?
The Major League, I mean, the money is the TV rights, but also the gate. And you don't go from 80 games to 30. How many millions of dollars is that you're giving up? No, they'll definitely. Plus, baseball is a game that's so numbers oriented that the numbers wouldn't mean anything. Like, who's going to lead the league in home runs this year? What's he going to have? 19?
Right.
17? Like, so I don't think they'll ever. This will be a 1 year deal, hopefully.
I would like to see college basketball not have, like, I mean, doesn't college basketball usually start in October?
Yeah.
I mean, they're sort of that first tier of their season is a bit outlandish.
When you bring that up, I think a spring season, if they're going to do one, it makes so much more sense to do it for basketball. Because, again, it's the only one that's indoors, which is much more dangerous, apparently, than being outdoors. And why you don't know when this second surge is coming, because we still think this is mainly the first surge.
It is.
But if there is a second surge coming around flu season, which is November and December, why start a season that there's a good chance that maybe 4 or 5 of your kids get it, and then you either play or you shut down? Why not move college basketball to start in February, like late February, and then play through, make it more coincide with the end of the NBA season?
May Madness? Is that what you're trying to say? How about some
June Madness? I wouldn't be opposed to June Madness, and then you go straight into the draft.
Well, you just got to worry about academic calendar, right? Doesn't spring semester usually end in June?
Yeah, but I mean, like, college baseball teams are still playing after guys have been graduates for 2 months or 2 weeks.
True. That's true.
So you could do that with basketball. That's the one I think, if they're going to be smart, like volleyball and basketball, I think, to me, that would make more sense to move that to the spring.
I mean, to Bimini Bound's point, this is me like parroting Ryan Russillo. You know, for him, Bimini Bound, personally, there were too many games for me to get interested. Now I don't have an excuse. I mean, I guess, maybe you hop into it. But, like, if you're not a baseball fan already, it's like, why, will this make a difference for you becoming a baseball fan? I think, maybe for a little bit, for a fleeting moment, will be interesting because it's kind of a novel value. But ultimately, like, if you love the game, man, like the 162, you're all about it. You think it's a beautiful thing. But
to get his point, like, I hope more kids start watching it. I thought Ian Desmond, did you see his?
Oh, that was
it a tweet?
Strong. That was strong. Instagram
it's
post,
really strong. And I tell you what, he's not wrong, man. It is becoming, especially in a place like Gwinnett County, Georgia, metropolises like that, it is becoming so expensive to play baseball. And it really angers me that, like, these rec ball leagues are just kind of afterthoughts. Everybody plays travel ball. And it's hard. Some kids just can't afford to play baseball. And you're alienating a large portion of the population that would be good for your game. And I thought that was really well done, what Ian Desmond was saying about that. And, look, I'm part of the problem, I guess, because my kid does play, quote-unquote, travel ball, although, like I've said before, they only travel 30 miles. They don't go to any destination tournaments. So it's not that big. It's not that big a strain on the wallet. But still, man, baseball has become so rich and white. It's almost like golf now when you go to these travel ball tournaments. Literally, it looks like it looks like what you would think a golf tournament would look like for 13-year-olds. And it bothers me because when I grew up, and certainly right before when I grew up, the best players in the world were Hank Aaron, Roberto Clemente, Willie Mays, Bob Gibson, and it's just not. If there's going to be any people of color that are playing baseball, they're Dominican or Venezuelan. And I wish we would invest more in our own country. But that's just me, again, on a soapbox. I apologize.
You ain't wrong. Heisman 20, strobe lights. I think that's his favorite firework. I don't know exactly what strobe lights are. I'll have to Google that. It has been a while for me, working from home, chasing my 10-month-old. He's already walking, moving furniture, eating chicken, steak, potatoes. A few inches shy of 3 feet and 27 pounds and counting. That's amazing. Like, kids walk that early? 10 months? Is he like a savant?
I think Brady started walking around that time. When do kids start walking?
Some between 12 months, some as late as 18 months.
Oh, so yeah, I think 10 months is early. Never mind.
He's showing off.
Yeah, definitely showing off. That kid's gonna be a track star.
27 pounds at 10 months. Yeah, Chubba.
That's a big one.
What did we say, Chubba? How much did Chubba weigh after 1 year? 32, 38?
Yeah, it was in the 30s, I think. Yeah.
Let's go. All right. What is your FSU iconic fan Hall of Fame? Top 3. Can be groups like the Garnet and Gold Boys, maybe the Cowgirls, or solo acts like Dancing Dad, Shirtless Professor, Mia Khalifa, 27-2 lady silencing the swamp, Angry Man with mustache meme, the girl in the mask that is in every recent photo in an article referencing the FSU student section. Even the Burger King mascot is a fan. Keep up the great work. Stay safe.
That one is really funny. The Burger King dude that ran onto the field, whenever that was, sometime during the lost decade.
Boston College game, I think.
Was it
Maryland,
like 06 or 07?
Yeah. I was there for that game. I remember that. I don't remember what game
It's really funny just watching him run down the field and then try to hop up into the student section. Go YouTube that, folks, if you haven't seen it. My number one of all time, it's just because of my age, was I feel like his name was Fred the Head, like Fred the Head Miller, maybe. I don't necessarily remember the last name, but he was the bald guy that always painted the logo on the top of his head. Okay. And he was on TV every time he was at a game. They would find him, and he would be up there. Burt Reynolds, and then I don't know. The girl making the face at the 27-2 game. That was a great meme too.
Yeah. How about the guy too? There was a guy with his girlfriend, I think, Florida State fans in the UF section, and they showed him, and he was like getting all hyped up, like, and all these Gator fans are around him. He was in enemy territory, so. But he wasn't an attractive lady, so he doesn't get the memory jogged for everybody. That's Cowgirls, that was something else. Old, Brent, every red-blooded male in America just applied to Florida State. The Dancing Dad guy is hilarious. I have footage of him. I think that's the Dancing Dad, the guy that's wearing like a knockoff Osceola jacket and probably socially.
I think my problem with him, and I don't have a problem because he's at every game. He supports the team, but he's on the video board all the time. It's like, can't we just show him once and be done with it? Like, or 4 times a season, not 4 times a game. That's a lot. And I feel like it's a lot of pressure. He's going to have to perform. And maybe, and that's a lot to carry for someone. I got to be on the video board. I got to come up with some new moves. Yeah. Get the guy a break. Let him in. Well, no, I take that back. I feel like he very much enjoys being on the video board.
There's also that GIF. No, say it right
GIF.
away. I was on GIF. Like a Florida State fan in a Jason mask, like doing the. He's like, his guy's eyes are wide open. He's doing the chop. And that was made into a GIF. But, yeah, I don't know. You named them all Heisman. And then Corey threw in Fred the Head for old-timer. So
I want to look up his last name just to make sure I got it right. I I don't want to disrespect him by not knowing his last name.
Man, we got so many more questions left. I got to really speed it
Let's
up.
go. Let's go. Let's fire through it. Come on.
All right, Captain D_63. What is up, Corey and Aslan? First of all, hope you guys have a happy and safe 4th of July. May God bless you and your family. My question is, before this pandemic, we heard about football standalone facility. Since then, we've heard nothing about the process of it and where FSU is going in the process. Do you have any ideas? Secondly, we hear about players testing positive. Praise God, none have died or have been hospitalized. What's the status of these players that have been tested positive, and how are they doing? We never hear about their condition, just that they tested positive. Always a great show, guys. Keep up the great work. Go Noles. I don't know how they're going to be able to afford a standalone facility. Money's tight as is. You're not going to have a gate, most likely. I don't know where they get the money for that. They're liquidating apparently real estate to probably help keep things afloat. I don't know, again, where the football facility stands in their list of priorities. Ira might know a little bit better. I mean, they're going to have to build it eventually, but I just don't know where that – I wouldn't think that's on the short list of things David Coburn's trying to get done right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's got other things to worry about, like keeping sports afloat. So, yeah, we don't know for sure. We certainly haven't heard that it's off the table. It's just I don't think that's priority number one right now, and I think 6 months ago it was. But obviously the world has changed, so we'll see. We'll monitor that moving forward, but I would not be surprised if it has certainly been delayed. What was the second part of the question?
We hear about these kids testing positive.
Oh, yeah, right. Like that's been my complaint now for weeks. Is like we don't get any updates. Like how bad is it for those Clemson kids that half of them got it? How many of them had symptoms at all? How many were really knocked off their feet for a week? Were any of them knocked off their feet for a week? What I guess what I want to know, and I know every body reacts different, and I mean like every person's body reacts differently to this, but I want to know how much risk they are in for really getting a debilitating sickness. That's all I want to know for somebody that age. Like what is it? What's the risk? Because all we hear are the case numbers. How many? Oh, yesterday we had 52,000 cases. Most of them were young people. Okay, well, how are they really at risk of going to the hospital, of using up ICU rooms? That's what I want to know. We don't ever get those answers. They all just become numbers and statistics. But like Baselli, Andrew Baselli got it whenever that was back in March, right?
Yeah.
And he said he was rough for a couple of days, I think is what he said, right?
I don't recall exactly what he said. I mean, yeah, but to your point, it differs. Yeah.
So, but I do think that's important. I think it's important, number one, to know how they got it and not just whatever. Like I think Michigan had like 2 out of 140 test positive. Okay, well, how did those 2 get it? And how are they doing? All we hear is some were asymptomatic. They're all in quarantine. Okay, well, are they in quarantine begging to die? Or are they in quarantine watching Netflix and playing video games and feeling not at all bad? Like, I do think that matters. I just do. Maybe I'm crazy because I know it affects different people, and we're not so much worried about a 20-year-old and how it's going to affect him as much as we are his mom or his grandmom or his dad. But still, I'd like to know. I wish we could get more information on that, but HIPAA.
HIPAA. Yeah, I don't know, Mike. Just imagine if Brady was a starting quarterback of Florida State, and would you? I don't know, man. Like, would you feel comfortable like hanging out with him after the game or before the game in the hotel lobby, knowing that he'd been, even if he was asymptomatic and it wasn't hurting him as bad, and then if Grandma wants to come, if Grandma Sharon wants to come to the game, like Grandma Sharon can't come to the game, and how long do you prevent him from hanging out with his grandma? I mean, I know they're playing football, but that's, it's not a small part of their life. It's an overwhelming amount of their lives, but they still have other people they're going to come in contact with. That's the whole.
I hope people are like, again, I don't want college kids to get it, but I want college kids to be smart and understand that if they're going back, if 35,000 college kids come back into this city, there's going to be a spike. But if they're smart enough to stay contained and not go out and visit nursing homes or not go back home and visit their grandma and understand that they might have it, if they all act like they probably have it, then I think everything gets back to normal much, much quicker. But that said, if my mom comes to watch Brady play be the starting quarterback in a football game, yeah, they're not going to hug. They'll wave. They can talk to each other in the parking lot, but I'm not going to get them close to her.
Harley 07, howdy partners, rather, not partners, partners. My breakout player for the year. I mean, look at that. Did I ask for a breakout player? I appreciate it, everybody. Wyatt Rector. I read somewhere he got the rare gold jersey during Tour of Duty. Has to count for something. I think the depth chart below Corey Durden and Coop will benefit from Marvin. Similar to EJ teaching Jameis the ropes of Jimbo's offense, we need unselfish senior leadership in the locker room to set the standard from a player's point of view and pave the way for the future. Thanks. Have a great 4th. P.S. Team Jashawn. Mental is a plus in my book.
By the way, Fred the Head Miller, it was Fred the Head Miller, and I looked him up. He actually died of a heart attack in 1992. I remember he died of a heart attack. I didn't know it was that long ago. And he was only 38.
Jeez.
And he was a fullback at FSU from 73 to 76. Which I don't think I knew that either.
Oh, hey, we didn't even mention.
Shout out to Fred the Head.
Wouldn't Mongo? I mean, maybe we were only doing Florida State football icons, but like Mongo, isn't he like one of the animal ringleader? I mean, aren't the animals kind of popular icons?
Yeah. Mongo's a big one. Yeah, sure. There's a lot of those. Yeah, I think you would collectively call them the animals. I don't know that you would
single one out. Right?
Single them out. You just call them all the animals. But yeah, he's a big one. He was a big one.
Let's get something going on.
I also thought it was just more of a. It was more of a the woman that does the number 3, the threes for all the threes they hit.
In her manila envelopes that she uses, those are awesome. Yeah, God bless her.
But other than that, yeah, you don't. You see the ones. Mr. Morcom. Is it Morcom or Morcom? I should probably know that.
Yeah, he's
the swimming pool's named after him.
Yes.
He's there all the time with his wife. There's some of the ones in the front row of the basketball games. I actually did a story on them a few years ago. It was the Jonathan Isaac year after they beat Louisville, because it was so cool because I saw them all through that ugly stretch from the Dulkey's Louks last season until John Isaac enrolled, and they were always still there in the front row, always cheering, always being positive. And so that was really cool that those kind of fans, the ones that stick with them, that go on the road, that they get to experience what this basketball program has become. Sorry, I don't know why I even said that, Aslan, but I just felt like saying it.
Let's go to San Diego. Sosa _ZP. We got curious, but do head coaches have to have a name for their systems? I was sold on #lethal simplicity, but what about the #offense built for playmakers? Money Mike got something brewing in the pot. I'm trusting the process. I mean, yeah, Saban doesn't have any nickname for his stuff, right? It's not like the Bama Wave, and Clemson doesn't have anything really. It was Bring Your Own Guts, but that was what was the other one? The Roy, the rest of y'all bus or something like that.
What was that? It was the Roy, right? But what's the acronym?
It was like rest of y'all or something. Like, yeah, everyone's talking about, we're the rest of them. I don't know. Freaking Dabo.
Dabo comes up with some strange ones. But hey, it works. It works.
Offense.
How they doing recruiting? Are they doing all right?
Think so. They're not taking on any.
I haven't checked lately, but I feel like they're doing well. I wish there was a way. I've met Russ Morcom 50 times, and I don't know if it's Morcom or Morcom. It's got to be Morcom, right? Morcom.
How about you text Ira and ask him to phonetically spell it out while I read the next question?
No. I'm going to go with Morcom. I'm saying Morcom. Okay. The problem is Stephanie calls it Morcom, and that's where she's got that in my head.
All right. Benzo's on Saturday. I think his name's Hunter. This is my best friend's name. Wake up, fellas. Linebackers. Interesting. I believe how they play will impact the entire defense, considering they are the group with the most question marks. Which linebacker on the roster will have the most tackles, and why? Corey, you want to take that one?
Yeah, man, that's a good one. I'm
Amari
going to say
Gaynor?
Emmett Rice
Okay, I like Emmett.
because of the way he finished last year. But I think there's a chance it could be Jaleel McRae.
Ooh.
Well, usually the middle backers are the ones that make the most tackles. And I feel like he'll be the middle backer, I think, or it could be our man, Ira's favorite player, Leonard Warner III.
Okay, I see that.
But my initial thought on
you're
that
right.
is just,
Emmett.
again, I think Emmett at the end of the last year was averaging about 8.5 tackles a game.
Mm-hmm.
And he's put on some weight, putting on some muscle. I'm going to say Emmett Rice leads them in tackles.
Yeah, I'll change it off Amari. I think you're right. Yeah, I think the eraser.
But let me say this. I think Amari Gaynor could have the biggest impact. My man needs to make some plays off the edge. He needs to become an impact player. They have not had an impact player at linebacker since Telvin Smith. And that was 7 years ago.
Gosh.
Let's go. Have they even had a good linebacker?
Terrence Smith. Well, I was like 14.
Yeah, he was pretty good. He didn't get drafted. He ended up playing the league for a good while, though, didn't he?
Yeah, and then he got hurt, poor guy. And got carted off. He was with the Chiefs, man.
Yeah. So, but they haven't had like I'm sure,
Yeah.
I don't know if they've had a linebacker get all ACC votes since Telvin Smith, who famously did not make the first team all ACC team because only one of the players on that Florida State defense did, and it was not Timmy Jernigan. But anyway, so it would be nice to have a guy that can make an impact at linebacker because Florida State used to have a lot of those dudes, and that's kind of gone by the wayside, just like O-line. Amari Gaynor, I really do think he could be the wild card and be a guy that makes game-changing type plays.
Then he has a question about Jimbo, but we already talked about Jimbo. He refers to Jimbo as my father, which is fun.
Right.
Hilarious. Gator188. Look at that. Usually the first to call, last to post. I like it. Symmetry. Something like that. Wake up. Wake up. Aslan the Great and the Bulldog. I think you're the Bulldog. Should that be our show name? Instead of like Wake Up Warchant, like, you're listening. It's Aslan the Great and the Bulldog. 94.6 FM. He starts like barking. Like, this is what I'm chewing on today, Aslan. You're not into
I know you're joking right there, but I'll be kind of honest with you. I think it works. I think we might need to look into that.
All right. Gator, we call him G because it feels weird to call a Florida State fan Gator. He's with Kalen. Got to stick with the 757. He's a Virginia guy.
Right.
My wide receivers starting would be Terry, Helton, and Matthews. Look at that. A lot of shiftiness. The player that shines at tight end will be Wyatt Rector. He seems to have the work ethic to succeed. I believe Coop will be the victor of the spoils due to Marvin. Thanks for all the great coverage. You all make these difficult times more bearable with the awesome coverage, chats, and happy hours. Looking forward to the season. Have a happy 4th. And we're done. There we go. Just
that was
like
nice.
that,
Yeah, the other question mentioned Wyatt Rector too, and he seemed to take pretty well to the tight end position. I know the 3 practices we were out there, he made some nice catches. Certainly didn't look overwhelmed at that position, but man, you never played it in your life.
Yeah.
And then you're playing at Florida State, and you're going to be a guy that in your first year at the position is going to beat out 2 dudes that have been playing it a lot longer. And I'm telling you guys, Cam McDonald is crazy talented. I don't know if they branch him out and move him out and he's more outside and he's not really a blocking guy, but I don't think Rector, the physicality of the position will be too much for Rector. I think he's a tough kid. It's just when you haven't blocked really your whole life, it can be hard to learn that on the spot in August, getting ready for a season. He didn't have a spring practice to do it. So that's a lot to ask for a former quarterback to make that move to a position like tight end and excel right away. I'm not saying he can't do it, but it'd be a really cool story if he did. It would just be, to me, it would be surprising. The first year, I mean.
I feel like there's this people want a tight end. Like, I think, I don't know if we have like tight end envy. How many other schools really out there are churning out great tight ends? But that's like something I feel like over the last 3 or 4 years, maybe it's like the post Nick O'Leary hangover where like Florida State fans are starved for this, dynamic game-breaking, game-changer at the tight end position. I'm just like, it just doesn't really happen, you know? Like, Alabama had O.J. Howard, who was really talented. Clemson had Jordan Leggett. I mean, these guys were good complementary weapons to their overall offensive attack. But, man, there's 10 things on my wish list for Florida State before I probably get to, big play tight end. Like, I'm not craving it. But then again, who am I? Just some guy.
Hey, they're big. They're big. If you get a good one, they're very, very important.
And as we leave from the San Jose Mercury News, I think it's the San Jose Mercury. Pac-12 Commissioner Larry Scott says that the conference is prepared to pivot quickly to alternate football scenarios in the event a 12-game regular season cannot start on time because of the surge. Still want to be. So go ahead. I was going to read the quote.
Like California, especially, they're getting overrun right now. Florida is it's rough in Florida. It's rough in Texas.
Arizona.
All of them. Georgia, South Carolina, Arizona. Don't you just think it probably makes more sense at this point? Like, again, we don't have to do anything right now. But if it's August 6th and it's still kind of dire straits as far as the numbers, or they haven't gone down nearly as much as we want, that you just say, guys, sorry, we're cutting out the first 3 weeks of the season. You're only going to play 9 games this year. The season starts September 24th. Doesn't that make the most sense? It might even make more sense to do it.
It's crazy to me to think that we'll be July 29th and not know what they're going to do. Like that.
That's what I'm saying. So if they have to say, look, we have to know by, let's say, July 20th, which will be it's the anniversary of the moon landing. So let's say July 20th, they have to know that's the drop dead date. Well, then at that point, obviously you would not cancel a season. That would be dumb. So you just say, look, we're still not comfortable enough. We're still having too many positive tests. We haven't even started practice yet. So we're going to start practice at the normal time. We're going to calculate what the risk is when we start this practice. But the 3 games that we were going to play in early September are off the table now. We're just playing conference games. That, to me,
do that than spring, yeah.
That makes so much more sense in the spring. So much more sense than moving it to the spring. Because, again, there's no guarantee that in the spring will be any different. If there was a guarantee, if Fauci came out and said, look, I promise you guys, I know it, I've seen it, we got the prototypes. By January 9th, we're going to have a cure. So let's all hold off till then. I would be like, yeah, move everything to them. But I don't know how much different the world's going to be, how much different this virus is going to be in January or February. There's no guarantee that it's much better. So just if it's still out of control in these states by the middle of July, then yeah, you might have to just think, look, we're going to cut the number of games from 12 to 9, and you're going to lose money. But we're starting in September, late September.
It's just crazy that all these millionaires in charge of all this, there's no answers. No one knows anything.
But you can't. How can you?
I don't know. You gotta put a drop dead date sooner than later. I mean, you have to manufacture a sort of line in the sand moment. This whole you can talk about when it's March. We'll wait and see what it looks like in June. It's July now. Figure it out. Put a plan together.
I don't know what they can do. Anybody. Number one, there's nobody that makes this decision. You know what I mean? There's no leader of the college football, but so that doesn't help. There's no commissioner, but also it just nobody knows this thing, man. That's why they called it a novel.
What are we waiting for? I mean, the quote here says that it could be in the next week that we make a clear pivot, or 3 weeks from now, or each individual school or conference or the collective can figure it out.
What if you make it? To me, it's like calling a baseball game because a thunderstorm is coming. So you're like, oh, look, we're supposed to get, like yesterday when we played tennis. You didn't want to play because you thought a thunderstorm was coming. Well, it broke up and we played for an hour and a half. Glorious tennis.
We did.
So right now, it looks like we're in the middle of a thunderstorm. But is it going to pass in 3 weeks? You wouldn't want to cancel a whole baseball game because there's a thunderstorm overhead at 2 o'clock when the game's scheduled at 6. You see where you are at 4:30 or 5, to me. And so calling it now when you don't know what California is going to look like. California is going to be.
Well, here's what I hate to interrupt you. Like, what's the problem right now? Just
don't.
saying 9 games, that's it, conference only, boom.
But I mean, that's money you're giving away. So again, don't do that until you have to do it. Keep going full steam ahead. And yes, there is a good chance that will probably happen. But until you get to that point, why do it? Like, why do it now?
What money are you
difference does it
losing
make?
out on? I mean, the Chick-fil-A Bowl, but like, what's the Boise State money you're losing out on?
But again, what if you cancel the West Virginia game, and then by August 26th, we have somehow the cases in Georgia are 80 a day, and you're not going to play because of the way the country was on July 2nd?
I can't.
There's just no rush. My point is there's no rush to do it, because what good does it do to go ahead and cancel it? You're probably going to cancel it, but why call a baseball game at 2 p.m. because of a rainstorm that's probably coming? Look and see what the skies look like at 5:15 and then call it, or 6:08 and then call it.
Well, it's because the NBA talked about this bubble 2 months ago and planned it all out, and it's supposed to launch in 20-something days. Like, they gave themselves a runway. They operated cleanly. They
got leadership, man.
There's no plan in place. That's the whole thing that's bizarre about it. No one knows.
It really is. Again, for a sport that is probably the second most popular in the country, to not have any real national leadership, and for everybody to just determine on their own, like conference by conference, school by school, is bizarre. And that probably should change, but I don't know how you change it. I'll be the commissioner, Aslan. And all these kids are going to be playing in the desert.
Not
Arizona.
Somebody's in the trial balloon now. Like, we're going to play it. We're going to play 9 games, conference only. You can play if you're asymptomatic. Somebody say something crazy. Put it out there. See what happens. See what the response is. We're not going to put guys.
That's what I would do. That's what I would do, buddy. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Everybody, listen. It's the 4th of July weekend. Be safe out there. Don't drink and shoot fireworks. Although, I mean, that's half the fun, really. But
if
be
you're
safe.
Sick, don't go out. If you're sick, don't go out.
If you're in Alabama, don't go to one of these COVID parties. Did you see this? Apparently, I mean, come on, everybody.
Then Alabama apparently did an investigation and said they couldn't find any students that actually participated in it. So who knows how much that really, if that was a rumor, or if that all really happened. But we do know young people are getting each other sick. So stop it. Wear masks when you go on dates. Wear masks if you're lucky enough to hang out after a date.
That's right.
Just keep the mask on, folks, and don't get 40 people in a room together.
Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, proudly presented by Zaxby's Indescribably Good. He's Corey Maslon. We'll catch up with y'all next week. Have a great one.
Warchant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. Warchant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WARCHANT30. That's WARCHANT30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WARCHANT30. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.